Hi and welcome to episode number 5. Yeah, this time it's really 5, not, welcome to episode number 5 of this little pinball guide, Get Your First Pinball Machine. So, yeah, we've talked about a lot of things. I mean, we already found the right pinball machine that you want. We found somebody who is selling it to you. We already checked if the pinball machine looks nice. We've checked if almost everything works. So you are really close to the point where you can say, yes, I'm gonna buy this pinball machine. So, but there's still a few small things that you have to check out before you should really grab this pinball machine and take it home with you. There are still some important things that you have to check out first. And don't be afraid, this isn't going to be my last episode of this pinball guide. It's just going to be like the last segment of this, or it's going to be the last episode of this segment, like by the end of this episode we covered up everything when it comes to finding the right pinball machine and deciding whether you should buy this pinball machine or not, whether it's in a good condition or not. So this is just about finding and getting your first pinball machine. This is going to be like the last segment of this, but in my next episode, which would be episode number 6 of course, we're going to start talking about all the stuff that you should know once you have this pinball machine at home. Because buying the pinball machine or finding a good pinball machine in the right condition, that's just one problem. It's just like the first step, but there's going to be so many more things that you should know about when you have this pinball machine finally at home. And so it's going to be the last segment of getting your pinball machine, but it's not going to be the last episode because I think you get the point. Okay, so right now we've checked out if everything works, the functionality or something like this, but there are still a few things we don't know. Important things. So important thing number 1 is we still don't know how the pinball machine really looks like inside. Like what does the pinball machine look inside the cabinet, or what does the playfield look underneath, because sometimes you have some burned inserts or something like this, or some really weird and strange cables and wiring going on, and yeah, so many crazy things that go on underneath the playfield that you should know about or that you should check out. So I think the next thing that you should do after we've checked everything is look underneath the playfield. So how do you do it? First, you have to remove the glass, of course, to get underneath the playfield. To remove the glass, you have to remove this thing right here. It's called a lockdown bar because it locks down the glass. I'm going to show you how to remove the lockdown bar right now. Okay, so this is the lockdown bar, and we have to remove this thing to remove the glass. I think many people will already know how to do it, but come on, it's for people who never touched a pinball machine or who only played on a pinball machine but never really had to open it or something like this. So we have to remove this lockdown bar. First, you have to open the coin door, and in almost every pinball machine there is this thing right here. Maybe on some machines it's over there or something like this, and you just have to pull it this way. So now the lockdown bar is unlocked, and now you can remove the lockdown bar. But don't just lift it up, because there is another thing that you have to check out first. So now you've unlocked the lockdown bar. Now we can take the lockdown bar off, but in some machines the lockdown bar doesn't really protect the glass or anything like that. So sometimes the glass starts to slide down a little bit. So before lifting up the lockdown bar, it is wise to use your thumbs and push the glass upwards a little bit. So you will see if you have on top, if you have a little space, so you can move the glass upwards a little bit. So this way you can remove the lockdown bar without hurting the glass, because sometimes when the glass is a little bit down there, when you lift it up, you can break the edges or something like this. So that's the first thing. And I think it's also wise to pull this thing back in and close the coin door, because this way the coin door isn't in our way. And then just slide the glass out. The good, one important thing, especially when it comes to later pinball models who have, I don't know how to say it, who don't have a flat cabinet like the old EM pinball machines, but like this, you should always check out to support the glass, because we don't want to push the glass upwards, but we also don't want to let it hang or something like this, because this glass, it feels like it's under pressure, and as soon as you try to bend it or anything like this, it could burst into thousands little pieces, and we don't want that. So always secure the glass and just slide it out like so. So now we have removed the glass, so now it is time to lift up the playfield. Wait a second. Rule number 1. Before you lift up the playfield, always remove the balls. And there is a few different ways. I mean, it depends if it's an EM pinball machine or if it's a solid state pinball machine, so the technology varies a little bit. But there's a few different ways how to remove the balls. And I'm going to show you both ways on this machine right now. So, way number 1 to remove the balls is letting the software remove the balls for us, because the balls, they are somewhere down there and we have to get them out. So you can go to the service menu and go to Tests and Empty Balls. Now remember, it doesn't work as long as we don't close the coin door. So close the coin door and the balls will come out. Yeah. So that's the first way how to remove the balls, using the software. So that was the first way. So let me show you the second way. The second way is to do it manually. First, you can grab the playfield always right here, and if you have like mirror sides or something like this, like I have, check out that you don't scratch them as you lift up the playfield. So this step will vary a little bit, because if you are using one of the EM pinball machines or one of the older solid state pinball machines, I think everything till I would say 1991, 1992 maybe, they have playfields who just lift up, you know, like the hood of a car or something like this. So you can only take the playfield and lift it up. But this is a little later model, so it offers you a different technology. So you can lift up the playfield like so, and then you grab it here, and on this pinball machine, instead of lifting it up all the way, which doesn't work, you can pull the playfield out towards you, and then you can set it up right here safely. But we want to remove the balls, and right now it's a little bit far down, so just remove it until you hear a clicking noise. Now the playfield is locked. Now let me show you how to remove the balls manually. So here we have the playfield and we need to get the balls out. So this is the, I don't know how you call it in English, the ball trove or something like this. You know, this is where the balls are. And this is the mechanism that shoots the balls out. So if we push this thing up, you can see the balls are moving. So just do a quick snap and the ball will come out and land in the back of the playfield, because I'm holding the camera right now. Otherwise I would use the other hand to get the ball. Yeah, but just that's how you remove the balls manually. Now you already know 2 ways to remove the balls and how to take the playfield out. Okay, so now that we have removed the balls, it is safe to pull up the playfield, but remember, first slide the playfield out towards you until you hear the clicking noise. Only then it's locked and it's safe to pull it up. Like so. So right now my playfield is resting on the speakers, which isn't really good, I know that. But usually this thing would be up here on this edge of the back box. So if you lift up the playfield, it's always wise to use a tissue or something like this to protect the wood of your back box, because sometimes you have nasty scratches right here in the center of the back box, and that doesn't look so good. So now that we have lifted up the playfield, we can take a closer look at everything that is underneath the playfield. So we can check out the flipper mechanism for the flipper fingers. We can see if those circuit boards are still in good shape. If they are still intact, we can check out the plugs if they are burnt or anything like this. We can check out the cables and the wiring if there's anything that looks weird or that looks like it doesn't really belong there. And also make sure that you check out the inserts, you know, because sometimes they are burned, especially on areas where there are flashers. So those are flasher light bulbs, and sometimes, you know, those things are burned around the edges or something like this. So yeah, check out if there's, like, it's not a ramp, if there is one of those things underneath the playfield where the ball is rolling underneath the playfield. Check out if those things are still intact or if it's broken or dirty or anything like this. That's also very important. So check out the cabinet, if the cabinet looks nice, if it looks clean, or if there's anything that looks a little bit off. You know, for example, this cable right here. I mean, we have those original cables, so what the hell is this cable right here on the speaker? Doesn't really belong there. But don't worry, I know that it belongs there because I put it there, because I put I think it was a high-low converter on my pinball machine, so I could connect the pinball machine with my stereo system or with my Dolby surround system in order to get better sound and more bass without replacing the original speakers on the pinball machine. But you know, right now I'm using the Dolby surround on my television again, so I don't really need it, so I think I'm going to remove this cable. Yeah, but check out the cabinet, if the cabinet is nice or if there's anything crazy in the cabinet, because sometimes, I mean, if you pick up this pinball machine and you want to buy it, you probably have to transport it and lift it up or something like this. And sometimes when there is like the manual inside here, I mean, we don't want that the manual is flying around or that it gets stuck anywhere, or I don't know. So check out if there's anything in the cabinet that you have to take out before you take it home with you. Sometimes some people forget some tools or anything like this, and especially when it's an old pinball machine that somebody just found in his garage or something like this, or a pinball machine that hasn't been restored or anything. There are the craziest things that people already found in their cabinet. Somebody once found a dead rat inside his pinball machine. Somebody found some used underwear, some used underpants in this pinball machine. So yeah. And if you want to transport the pinball machine, you can also put the balls inside the, I don't know what it's called, is it the coin box or something like this? I think it's called the coin box. So that's where the money goes. When you put the money inside, it goes inside this thing. And you can leave this thing in because, you know, it can't go anywhere because it's locked because of those coin testers or whatever you call those things. So yeah, I mean, if you don't have a coin tester, of course, then you have to take it out in order to not fly around in the cabinet when you transport it. So yeah, now you know what you should check out. All the cables, see if anything is burned or anything like this. Check out the coils if they still look nice. Check out all the mechanisms if they look really dirty or greasy or anything like this. You know, check out all those little circuit boards, all those, or lamp matrix or whatever they are called. No, the lamp matrix is in the service menu, I think. Yeah. See if there's any plugs that are loose. I mean, here there's already the paper coming off, but you know, it still looks nice underneath the paper and it still works, so it's not too bad. So yeah, everything looks nice. Check out the switches for the flipper fingers, for the flipper buttons. So if everything looks nice and you're satisfied and everything worked in the tests and so on, yeah, you're one step closer to jump and joy because you're about to get your first pinball machine. But wait, there is still one thing that you have to check out. And I don't worry how long this video is going to be because I can finally upload videos that are longer than 15 minutes, so I don't have to rush anything. So like I said, there is still one important thing that you have to check out before you take this pinball machine home with you. So what is that thing that you have to check out? So now, like I said, there is still one more thing that you have to check out before you can really make sure you get a good pinball machine and you can take it home with you. So what is it? It is the inside of the back box, the so-called brain of the pinball machine, because I think even if the playfield is nice, even if everything works on the playfield, it doesn't really matter as soon as there is a problem in the back box with some of the circuit boards or anything. A good playfield is totally worthless because that's what controls everything that goes on the playfield. So yeah, you have to check out the inside of the back box. I mean, right now at this point where we have done all those tests and everything worked and the menu and the display and the sound and everything worked, I mean, the chances that there are problems in the back box are very, very low, but you know, maybe you don't check all those things in the same order as I'm explaining them to you. So maybe the back box should be the first thing that you should check out. I don't know. I'm just doing it right now as the last thing, but feel free to do it in a different order. So how do we get inside the back box? First, we need a key. The key for the back box is a different key as for the coin door. So when you get a pinball machine, you should always get two different kinds of keys. So first you have to unlock the back glass or the translite. Sometimes the lock is right here, but sometimes it's on the side of the pinball machine. I think the police force is one of those pinball machines who have the lock on the side. So first you have to unlock the back glass. So now you can lift up the back glass inside the back box a little bit. Take really good care about this plastic thing right here, because sometimes those things aren't really that robust, and when you lift them up they start to break. I have, like on the Judge Strat, there's already something broken, so be really careful. Lift it up, then pull it towards you and slide it out like so. That's how you remove the translite. So when you put the translite or a back glass somewhere, it's always wise to lean it against the wall and don't lay it down so nothing touches the back and nothing can scratch the translite. That's always an important thing. So now the back box is open. Now you have to pull this lever up and just open it like so. And here we have the brain of the pinball machine. Oh yeah, that's where the fun is. Yeah, those are all the circuit boards and everything. So here we also have a little plan for the matrix and stuff like this. So what are some of the things that we have to look out for? So first, of course, check out the cables. You know, we already know this cable doesn't belong here. It's the cable from the cabinet, from the speaker. But what are some of the things that you have to check out when you want to get the pinball machine? So first, check out if the cables are in nice condition. Check out the plugs. Everywhere where you find some plugs, check out if those plugs are still in a nice condition or if anything is burned. I mean, there are plugs down there, but it's really dark. But those plugs, I think they are for the lighting of the Playfield, so you should check those plugs out as well. But how do we get there? Well, we have to remove the display. How do we remove that thing? I show you right now. So first you have to close that thing again. And I put an old sweatshirt right here because I am somebody who's a little bit overprotected over his pinball machine and all this stuff. So this thing is not locked anywhere. You have to just lift it up like so, and you can take it out and make sure that the cables don't rip off anywhere, and you can just lay it down. And I also use this sweatshirt so it doesn't slide off. So now you can also check out the cables of the speakers and the display. I mean, looks nice so far. Now let's open up this thing again, and now you can also check out all those plugs down here who are really important for the lighting of the playfield and everything like that. So see if you find any plugs that look a lot darker, or some plugs that are burned, because especially when it's an old pinball machine, some of those things start to burn, or yeah, they start to look really brown. Sometimes those things even caught fire, and it was really smoking on some really old machines. But I think that's something that only happens when the pinball machine is turned on like 12 hours or more, like in bars and anything like this. So yeah, those are the game ROMs where the software is stored on. Those are the fuses. I mean, if those fuses are burned, that's going to cause problems, but it's not really a problem per se. Just take them out, put the right fuse back in, and yeah, that's not so much of a problem. I was already confused about this fuse because you can see that it looks burned, but it still seems to be alright and everything still works fine. So yeah, check out the circuit boards, because sometimes, you know, those things are burned. I already had a machine where I turned it on and one of those things I just fried that thing. It's something that could always happen to you. So check out all the cables, and yeah. But there is one important thing that you have to check out. It's those things right here, the batteries. Because sometimes, if I don't know who you buy this pinball machine from. If you buy this pinball machine from a collector who really knows what he's doing, who also knows how to clean and restore and fix his pinball machine, or if you buy this pinball machine from a private person who just got it for fun, but now that something doesn't work, he wants to get rid of it, or, you know, so, believe it or not, some people who own a pinball machine, they don't even know that a pinball machine uses batteries. They don't know that there are batteries inside a pinball machine. So yeah, what those batteries do, what they do and what they are for, that's something that I'm going to explain later. But you should always check out the batteries, because some people who don't know that the pinball machine has batteries, they don't replace them for years. And what happens if you don't replace your batteries for multiple years? Yes, they start to break and they start to leak. And so when all the battery acid is running down, it can destroy the circuit board, and this can be really, really freaking bad and really dangerous, because once one of those circuit boards is broken, I mean, depending on what kind of a circuit board it is, if it's a circuit board that controls the display or the lighting or the software or the sound or anything like this, you have a really big major problem, and it gets really, really expensive, because yeah, some experts are able to fix boards like this and remove all the battery acid and fix this board, but it takes a lot of time. It's a really long and complicated process, and I think people are also charging high prices if they fix that kind of stuff. But still, if you want to get a new board to replace, it also gets really, really expensive, because first of all, as you can see, it's pretty old technology. I mean, it's technology from late 80s, early 90s and stuff like that. So first of all, it gets really hard to find the exact same board once again, and if you find one, it gets also really expensive. So 100, maybe sometimes 200 bucks, I think. So it's not really that cheap. So check out the batteries if they still look nice. Check if the battery acid is running out. Check if the circuit board is still intact. And yeah, so if everything looks nice inside, outside, underneath the pinball machine, you are ready to go and purchase your first pinball machine. Yay! So is there anything else that I want to talk about? Yeah, yes there is. So, like I said, there is one more thing that I want to talk about, because I don't want to do an extra video on it, and I really want that this video is going to be the last video of this series, Get Your First Pinball Machine. And starting with episode 6, this pinball guide is going to be called Own Your First Pinball Machine. So there's one last thing to talk about, which is how do you get this damn thing home? How to transport a pinball machine, because they are pretty heavy, they are pretty big, so how do you really take this thing home? I'm going to show you. So if you want to take a pinball machine home with you, and if you want to transport the pinball machine, I think the first thing you have to do is move the back box and lay it down. Yeah, this back box is mounted on the cabinet, but you can flip the back box and lay it on the playfield. So before you can do this, you have to check the behind of the back box, and there is this little thing right here. This little thing secures the back box from falling down. So first thing you have to do is, of course, unlock it. If you get lucky and you have a pinball machine that has a topper, such like this Eagle, I think it's also always wise. I mean, this Eagle is secured with some screws or something like that, but still we don't want to break it, and I think it's always wise to remove the topper as well. So after you've removed the topper and you unlock the back box, you can just flip it over like this, make sure that the backlash is locked and nothing falls down, and just pull it down like this. Check out the cables in the back, because sometimes they get stuck, and just put it down like so. That's how you do it. If you want to transport your pinball machine, it's always a wise idea to put something like a tissue or something between the cabinet or between the side rails and the back box to protect the wood of the back box and to protect the side rails, because sometimes on some pinball machine you have really nasty dents right at this point. So after you've done it, you should secure the back box by using a string or anything like this that you wrap around the whole thing. Of course, use some, I don't know what you call it in English, edge protectors or something like this to protect the edges, and just securely wrap something around it, because once you lift up the once you've lifted up the pinball machine and you have to flip it over to transport it, you know, maybe when you have to walk upstairs or something like this, or if you have to get through the door or anything like this, we don't want that when you pull the pinball machine up that the back box falls down. So wrap something around the pinball machine to secure the back box. And after you've done that, you should maybe get a second person that is holding the pinball machine on the back, unscrew the legs on the back, set up the pinball machine, then you can lift it up and you can easily unscrew the front legs, and then you are already ready to go. And remember, before you do all this, before you transport a pinball machine, always remove the balls. Very important tip. And then you are ready to get this pinball machine home. And this is the end of this segment, Get Your First Own Pinball Machine. So episode number 6 is going to cover everything once you get this pinball machine at home. So check out episode number 6 for Pinball Guide, Own Your First Pinball Machine. Bye!